Chain Sennit, monkey chain, monkey braid, single trumpet cord, single bugle cord, chain stitch, crochet stitch, chain braid, daisy chain. Hello everybody, welcome back, and that's what we're doing today. I have never known anything with so many different names, but that's what I found out today with regards to this particular knot. And as you can see here, when it's done in paracord, it's a rather decorative single strand sennet that was originally used for bugles, etc. Also, the other thing is you'll find this one, I could have tied it a little bit better, but this one was also used, or is still used, a lot on uniforms. So when you look at people's uniforms, you'll see lanyards and things like that. That is actually made with the chain sennet, and this is how it's made. And to be honest, it's a rather, if I do it a little bit neater, you can see here that a nice pattern is forming on this. And the other thing about this one is that if you want to undo it, it's very easy to undo. All you need to do is pull one end here, and as you can see, it just comes undone until we've got nothing left in the cord itself, which itself has some advantages also. But let's go on and have a look at this. Now, this might be a fairly longish video today because I'm not going to just show you how to tie this particular sennet, but I'm also going to show you some other uses that you might find useful. And one here is on an extension lead. It's a great way of storing extension leads, and once again, the beauty of this is that when you take it out of its final tuck here, if I just undo this, take it out of its final tuck, as I pull here now, you can see here it's coming undone, and I'll just pull another one through and it's coming undone like so. But I'll come back to that one in a minute. And then finally here, it's a great way also of storing rope. Now, for example, this piece of rope here, I'll just reach out for my piece of paper because I've got my measurements on it. But with regards to this piece of rope here, the original length of this rope was 24 foot. I then, by folding it in half, reduced it to 12 foot. And then when I put this chain sennet in it, it has now reduced it to 2 foot in length. And once again, like I say, the beauty of this is once I take the ends out of the first tuck there, as I pull on this, you will see here now that I can pull all my rope out, and eventually I get to the end and I've now unraveled all my rope. It's not tangled. That's the beauty of it. It's not tangled. As I pull it all through, you'll see there's no tangles in it. And my hairy piece of snake's wedding here now it is a tangle. But when I had it in the chain sennet, it wasn't tangled. So let's go through and how we actually tie this particular sennet. Now, the other great thing about this particular sennet is if, say, for example, you have got a blind pull string, or you've got a light pull string, and it is too long, this is a great way of using up the cordage and shortening it, and you also end up with a little bit more of a handhold grip to pull your cord. So the first thing that we do is with any piece of cord, if we've got a single strand like this, the first thing that we do is all we do is just go over like so. So we're creating, it's going underneath itself, round and over. And that's it. That's our first loop there. What we now do is we take a bite of this rope here. So take a bite there. So you can see there, I've created a bite and pass that bite up through the loop like so. And then that's all we do. It's so simple. This one is so simple and easy. I'll just pull this one up a little bit tighter just to strangle it a bit. And so there we go. There's the bite that I created going through our first loop. And all I do now is create another bite there like so, and pass that bite through that one. There you go. As simple as that. Take another bite like so and pass that up through like so. Take another bite, so form another bite here and pass it up through the previous bite. Take another bite. You get the idea, yeah? And you can see here now that as I pass that up, and then we're getting our Chain Sennit appearing there. And you can make it tighter or looser. The choice is up to you. So I'm just going to go continue up here, and I will show you what to do next. Okay, so as you can see, I've done a little bit more on my cordage, and there is my final bite there. What I'm going to do is just put one more bite in there, put one more bite in like so. So basically I've got a bite there, I form a bite on this piece here and just tuck it up through like so. Now to finish this off, now the problem with this is if I were to leave it like that, it would come undone. But to finish it off, all I do is tuck my working end through that final loop and just pull it up. And you can see here now, where I've done this now, we have got a nice, let's see it there like that, we've got a nice decorative pattern has appeared in our cordage like so. And it's also, the other beauty of it is it's given us a little bit more of a grip, and if I pull, let's see, pull on either end, all it's doing is doing itself up. But if I take my final piece here, so this is the final tuck here where I tucked it underneath, if I actually pull that out like so, that will now completely unravel. And as you can see, there we go, it's now completely unraveling, and eventually I'll get to the very end where I started and it's totally unraveled there. So it's a great way of shortening a length of cord or something like that, a sash cord, not sash cord, sash cords are inside windows, but you know what I mean, a blind cord, any cord, a light switch cord. So if you've got a light switch cord that's too long, just put the simple chain Sinnet or the bugle stitch or whatever it's called into that, and that will cure the problem. That will make it shorter for you. Now let me show you another great use for this. So what I'll do is I'll just get my extension lead and show you what I do with that. Right, so here we have it. Here's my extension lead, and there's my two leads, one to the plug and one to the socket itself. And the reason that I've plugged them in together like so is that when I pull it all through my hands evenly, eventually when I get to the end, as you can see, there's quite a lot on here. I deliberately chose a long lead, but you can see here now, that is now the middle of my extension lead. And the beauty of this is that by folding it in half, I've instantly reduced the length of my cord by 50%. Right, now that I've done that, the next thing that I want to do, now this, I'll show you this on the table, but you'll find it easier when you're actually doing it standing up, if you see what I mean. So the next thing that I want to do is I just basically want to twist it like so, so my loop drops down at that point there. And where the loop drops down like so, the next thing I want to do is just pass my hand. So there's my loop. I then want to pass my hand underneath like so and grab the two cords. So the loop is now like this. So I've just gone through, so let me show you that again. So there's my loop. I then push my loop over like so, pass my hand through there, grab the two leads so that the loop itself is now going around the cord. Now that at the moment is too long, so what I'm going to do is just shorten it a bit like so. And so there's my loop. Now the next thing I do, and what we're doing now is we're just repeating a pattern all the way through. So now that I've created my loop here, I then get hold of this cord here in my right hand, and I take a loop and I pass it through the loop. So I take a bite like so and pass that through the first loop and then just pull it through. Then I go here and I take another bite, so form a bite in here, take another bite at this point here and pass it through that top loop like so. There we go. And then just pull a bit through, and you can make these loops are as big as small as you want. I then take another bite, so form a bite here at this side, so formed a bite here, and I pass that bite through that one there. So pass it through like so. And then just keep doing that. Form another bite to the right hand side here on this one. Form a bite and pass that bite through the top bite. There we go. And then once again, form a bite at this point here and pass that bite. And you'll find this, I'm trying to do this in the front of a camera in small space, but you'll find that when you're actually holding it and just passing it through the loop, it's a lot easier. So there's my very top loop, and once again underneath that I form a bite here like so, and I pass that bite up through the loop like so. And you can see here now that gradually we're getting a symmetrical pattern appearing in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on, carry on, so form another bite here like so, form that bite there, and then that bite will pass up through the very top loop. So that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing that, and then I'll come back to you again in a second. Okay, so there we have it. I have now done my last loop. That's my last loop there, and you can see here now that my extension lead ends are at this point here. Now, the thing is, what I need to do now is I need to secure it, because as you can see, if I pull on my plug and socket, eventually it will pull this loop out that way and it will come undone. So all I do is I get hold of my socket like so, and I just pass it through the loop like there, and there we have it. And no matter now how much I pull on this, all it's going to do is tighten up on this loop here. So it's not going to come undone. And if we look at the other end, and here's the other end, that's not going to come undone either. So now, no matter how much I throw this extension lead around, it's going to stay in shape. Now, the other good thing about this as well is that when you're using as an extension lead, the problem with extension leads that are rolled up is that they generate heat. And this is why when you have a coil of extension lead, it always says unravel it all so it doesn't become a heat generator and therefore become dangerous. Now, the beauty of this is that my cordage or my electric cable is a lot smaller than it would be if I hadn't have put it into this Sinnet. But now, when I want to use it, all I do is I just turn that the right way up. I get my socket and plug, I pull it through the first loop, and there we have it. And now that I've pulled it through the first loop, what I can do now is I only need to use as much cord as is required. So if I only need to use 2 foot of cord, all I've got to do on this is pull it, and all I'm doing is undoing the loops, but eventually I can now take my extension lead, plug that in at one end, that in the other end, and I don't have to unravel it all. Then when I've finished, all I do is just bring the 2 ends together again, and then we do the usual thing where there's my top loop. So I now form a bite underneath and I pass that bite up through the top loop. I then form another bite and pass that up through the top loop like so. And then eventually I get to the point here now where I've got my plug and socket, and to prevent it coming undone, all I do is pass my plug and socket directly through the last loop like so and pull, and then that is not coming undone. So no matter where I throw this, this will always remain in one good shape and it's not going to be tangled. So that is how to use the Chain Sennit with an extension lead. So let me just get my rope now and show you how you can store rope using this method. Okay, so here we have, I know for a fact that this is 24 foot of hairy rope, and at the moment I have got a snake's wedding. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to find both the ends. There's one end and there's the other end. So I've got both ends And what I'm going to do now is hold both those ends together and then pass all the rope through my hands like so until we get to the very end. And if there's any knots or kinks in there, take them out. And there we go. I have now reached the midsection of my rope. So this rope was 24 foot long. It is now 12 foot long. So now that we've got it 12 foot long, the next thing I want to do is I want to tie or put in my chain sennit into that. So what I've got is I've got my loop here at the top end. So I'm going to let the loop drop. Unfortunately, because this is fairly springy string, it's not working so well. But what I do is I form a loop here and then I take my first bite through that loop. So there we go. I've now formed a loop like so. So my loop is like that. And the next thing I'm going to do, exactly as we did with the extension lead, all I'm going to do is form a bite underneath. Whoa, I've come undone here. Let me do that again. So there's my loop and it's round there like so. So next thing I'm going to do is just basically underneath, grab a section, form a bite as I'm passing it through and pass it through the top loop like so. Get the next piece, pass it through the top like so. And there we go, we're starting to make a sennit and then go underneath, take that piece there, form a loop, pass it through the next one. And once again, how big or small you make these loops is entirely up to you, whatever you prefer. Just form a loop and pass that loop through the previous loop. Form a loop, pass it through the previous one. And once you get the hang of it, you can see here now that as I do this, it's getting quicker and quicker as you get used to using it. And then there we go, once, I've got room for one more, and there we have it. So there we have it. I now have, so now 24 foot became 12 foot, and this is now 2 foot long. Now, once again, we're at the end here where these two ends are sticking out. Now the problem is, if I were to pull on these ends now, it would all come unraveled. But if I get both these ends now and pass them down through my last loop, there's my last loop, pull it up tight, and that is not coming undone. And you can see here now, it doesn't take long for me to get from one end to the other on a 24 foot length of rope. And so now, like my extension cord, I can hang it from this point here if I want to. I can throw it around. It doesn't matter how much I throw it around. It's not going to come undone and it's not going to come untangled. And if I pull on here, you can see if I pull on there, nothing happens. And if I pull on the other end, nothing happens. However, if I then want to go ahead and use my rope, I just get the two ends, pull them out of that first loop there like so. And then as I pull it, you will see here now that my rope all comes undone. There's no tangles in it, and there you are. I'm at the midpoint there, and my rope is now 12 foot long. And if I were to just open that out, I then end up with a 24 foot piece of rope. So anyway, that today was the Chain Sennit, or all those other ones that I told you at the very beginning. It does make a nice decorative knot, but not only that, it really is a wonderful practical knot to learn for storage of rope, electrical cables, and also the decorative work for making a nice single strand sennit for your bugle, should you have a bugle. It could even be for a rifle sling or something like that if you're into that sort of thing. So anyway, that was the Chain Sennit. So once again, I just want to thank you all very much for watching, and if you liked it and if you hated it, you know the routine. God, that bit's boring, isn't it? Anyway, I will then see you again next time with another little knot. So let's get knotting, and I'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.